I mean, a pharmacist is someone who can't do anything without a doctor's instruction, right?
My brother-in-law looked down on me since I worked as a pharmacist. I ended up in the same workplace as my brother-in-law. He was a doctor and he looked down on me completely. My mother-in-law was taken to the hospital one day and required emergency surgery.
I'll do the surgery.
What are you talking about? You're only a pharmacist.
It's okay. Actually,
My name is Noah Johnson. I work as a pharmacist at a general hospital. I have a wife, Madison. My wife is a freelance doctor who is not affiliated with any hospital. And she is a popular doctor who works at various hospitals. To assist her, who visits several hospitals in various places, I work as a pharmacist while also taking care of the family. We have been married for 3 years and have no children. However, we get along great and have no complaints about our life together. I lost my father 5 years ago. That event changed my life forever. Since it's a long story, so I will talk about it later. In my marriage, I had nothing to complain about, but there was one thing that disturbed me. It was my wife's younger brother, Oliver. Like Madison, Oliver aspired to be a doctor and was a medical student at the time. His dream was to become a freelance doctor like Madison. You may be wondering why I was so concerned. Oliver used to say some very bad things about me. He enrolled at a prestigious private junior high school in America. He advanced to high school with top grades. He then entered the medical school at America's top-ranked university. Apparently, his background made him the way he was. He was quite arrogant, even as a student.
Hey, Madison, is the guy you're marrying a pharmacist? Are you saying he's not a doctor?
Oliver, watch your mouth.
But it's true, isn't it? Pharmacists and nurses can't do anything without doctor's instructions. They are literally nothing.
That's how he treated me at our two families meeting 3 years ago when Madison and I were getting married. I did anticipate receiving so much criticism from him simply because I worked as a pharmacist. Of course, my in-laws adored their kid because he was such a good student. Needless to say, they reared him with more affection than they did to their other child, Madison. Even at the time of greeting,
Oliver is right.
I know, I recall being taken aback by their attitude. And Oliver said,
It's true, right, Dad, Mom?
that even made me cringe. Then one day,
what do you say? I cooked cabbage rolls today.
Really? Yes, I love your cabbage rolls.
we were in a shopping center, wandering around various stores while purchasing food.
Hey, Madison?
I heard a familiar voice and turned around to find Oliver there.
Oliver, it's been a long time.
Hey, Oliver. What's up?
Oh my gosh! I didn't think you were here too, Mr. Pharmacist.
Oliver appeared to have hurried to see his esteemed sister. He looked like a dog wagging his tail. I could tell that he must be happy to see her after a long time.
How are you?
I'm fine. I've heard rumors about you from many places. I'm glad to hear you're doing so well.
Then Oliver glanced at me. He was looking down on me.
Oh, how I wish I had a brother-in-law who is a doctor. Since I'm going to be a doctor now, too, I wanted someone who could give me all kinds of advice. I still think you should have married a doctor, Madison. And you could have done that. Why did you choose this guy?
Oliver, how many times have I told you not to speak badly about Noah?
Because if you are a doctor, you can make more money than a pharmacist. And I'm sure you can boost up each other that way. It's not too late. Why don't you get a divorce?
I'm not getting a divorce. You don't know this, but Noah is actually...
Emma, it's okay. I don't care.
But I do. I'll make my ignorant little brother understand.
Emma was about to punch Oliver, but I tried my best to stop her. I didn't mind that I was a pharmacist, or that my salary was lower than that of a doctor, because that was the truth. But Emma became enraged every time Oliver made fun of me. I really thought that I had a great wife.
Since you're mad, I'm going to get going. I'm assigned to go to St. Nicholas Hospital as a resident, so I'm busy.
St. Nicholas Hospital?
That was the general hospital where I worked. I was surprised to learn that he would be coming to work there. With that, Oliver left quickly.
So were you working here?
A few months later, my brother-in-law really came to the hospital where I worked. We bumped into each other in the hallway. The hospital had many beds and was large. Because of its huge size, it admits a high number of medical interns each year. It was not surprising that my brother-in-law became a resident at this institution. It was surprising, but I had to wonder what the odds were. The residents were only introduced to the head of each department, so I had no idea what kind of medical interns came every year since I wasn't the head.
Ah, yeah, I guess so.
What? Hey, you should be more respectful to me. I am a doctor. You're just a pharmacist.
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
While I was smiling bitterly, Dr. Brown, the head of the internal medicine department, walked by.
Hello, Dr. Brown.
Hey, Dr. Brown.
Our voices overlapped.
I was saying hi to my brother-in-law. We didn't have a chance to meet here, even though we work at the same place. I was just telling him that I'm counting on him. It's a great relief to have a family member in the workplace.
I was surprised to see Oliver respond with a smile. He had looked down on me with all his might just a moment ago, but his attitude had changed dramatically. Well, it certainly is comforting to have your relatives around. Dr. Brown laughed loudly.
I will do my best to meet your expectations. I am very motivated.
I looked at Oliver, who seemed to be able to advertise himself with a pleasant smile. It was truly incredible to graduate with honors. While I was amazed that Oliver was actually rather intelligent, Oliver's gaze met mine. He smiled at me sarcastically. After Dr. Brown left, Oliver turned to me.
Pharmacists are only capable of doing what we doctors tell them to do, right? You better listen to what I say and do your job.
He was making such a statement against all pharmacists around the globe.
Oliver, you shouldn't say such things.
Huh? You're just a pharmacist. Don't tell me what I should and shouldn't say.
With that, he walked away. Every time we passed each other in the hallway since then. And every time I contacted the extension line to seek medication instructions.
I know you can't do anything without my instruction.
He used to say that every time. It was frustrating, but it was true, so I didn't argue. One day, while I was spending my days like this, I explained the medication to a patient in the hospital ward that I was in charge of. Then I was on my way to the nurse's station. Then an ambulance had seemed to arrive, and I heard a lot of noise in the emergency room. I was curious if the person who had been taken in would be admitted to the hospital. I was going along, mindlessly thinking. My brother-in-law Oliver came running towards me. After what was going on between us, I prepared myself because I thought he came running to say sarcastic things. But he just walked right past me. I was quite surprised. I thought he came running towards me to say sarcastic things, but he just walked right past me. I was quite surprised, but it was better that he didn't make any sarcastic remarks to me. Then Oliver opened the door to the emergency department and said, "Mommy!"
Mommy!
He yelled. My mother-in-law was lying in bed.
Mommy, stay with me.
I quickly ran to the bed.
Oliver, it's your mother. What happened?
Oliver's mother was apparently going down the street when she was hit from behind by a car. She landed hard on her chest and was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. She informed the paramedics that her son worked at the hospital as a doctor, and she asked them to bring her here. That's why she was here. According to the x-ray taken, she appears to have a pneumothorax. Dr. Smith, who was in charge of the emergency room, looked at the x-ray image and said, "Pneumothorax?
Pneumothorax?
Pneumothorax is the air leakage from the lungs. And since air seeps from the lungs and accumulates in the chest, the lungs contract. Perhaps it happened because he struck her chest too hard. In any case, I was certain that we could cure the pneumothorax. However, she appeared to have hemopneumothorax, which may have necessitated an emergency surgery. However, all of the doctors who could do the surgery were not there, and we couldn't conduct surgery right away.
No way.
Hemopneumothorax is a condition in which blood builds up in the chest. She appeared to have a significant amount of blood in her chest. It could be dangerous if not treated quickly. However, no one in the hospital was available to conduct the operation at the time. I couldn't believe it.
How about medicine?
Oh yes, let's call my sister. Then maybe she can help us.
I called Dr. Johnson, just in case, but she said she was at the hospital in North Carolina. She said that she was hurrying to come back, but I was sure she wouldn't make it in time. Come to think of it, she was training in North Carolina until that day. Oliver was a resident doctor, and he was very nervous. I believed he would be able to perform the surgery. Oliver was a resident doctor and he was very nervous. I believed he wouldn't be able to perform the surgery. Even Dr. Smith admitted that he'd never operated on a pneumothorax before. My mother-in-law was in front of me, grasping her chest in distress. The heart rate on the monitor was low, and it wouldn't surprise me if her heart had stopped at that point. Suddenly, the alarm on the monitor went off. My mother-in-law had gone into cardiopulmonary arrest. Mommy! At that moment, I opened my mouth. I'll intubate her right away. Start preparing. And get the AED. We're going to administer CPR. The emergency room became chaotic as I gave commands. Oliver, give her a cardiac massage. Me? You're the only one who can do it now. Please lend me a hand to save your mother. Why are you the one who's giving instructions? Just do it. Save the life in front of you. Dr. Smith, please help us? Sure, of course. In collaboration with Dr. Smith, I intubated the patient and administered AED and cardiac massage. The mother's heartbeat resumed somehow, but she was still weak. Maybe we should request a transfer to another hospital. Dr. Smith muttered, but we won't make it in time, right? Please save my mommy. Oliver's near exclamatory cry echoed. I knew I had no other choice. I raised my right hand in determination. I'll do the surgery. Everyone was surprised. Noah is gonna perform surgery? But he's a pharmacist, right? What is he up to? Sure enough, almost everyone there, including the nurses, looked at me suspiciously. And as expected, Oliver became furious and grabbed me by the chest. What the hell are you talking about? You're a pharmacist, right? There's no way you could perform a surgery.
Just because you have a medical license doesn't mean you are a doctor. I wouldn't let an amateur like you conduct my mommy's surgery. You keep your mouth shut.
Don't worry, I know that it's been a while, but I've done a lot of surgeries.
I was the only one who could do it. I called the hospital director. I explained the situation and told him I wanted permission for the surgery.
I'll leave it to you.
That's what he told me. I hurriedly prepared for the surgery. Then,
Mr. Hospital, you're back.
Dr. Smith spoke to me. I was in the operating room, so I didn't know. However, it appeared that Dr. Smith and the director informed the other doctors that I would perform the procedure. And I was told later that the hospital went crazy.
Hey, I heard that Mr. Hospital is gonna perform the surgery. For real? Is Noah finally going to be working as a doctor again? Do we get to see his surgery again? I can't miss that.
Many doctors appear to have gathered in front of the operating room monitor. The surgery went well, and my mother-in-law gradually recovered. She was moved from the intensive care unit to the general ward the other day. She will be able to do rehabilitation in a little while. Depending on the progress, she would soon be able to resume her normal life. By the way, everyone heard Oliver screaming, "Mommy!" and he was advised to stop calling her like that. It was Sunday, my day off from work, and Madison was out in the morning. I was enjoying an elegant coffee break at home. Then the intercom rang. I looked at the intercom screen and saw Oliver. When I opened the door, he was holding a package of pastries.
What's going on, Oliver?
I came to thank you for solving my mother and also to apologize for my previous behavior. Thank you very much for what you did, Noah.
I invited him into the house and listened to what he had to say.
I didn't know you were the legendary Mr. Hospital.
Yeah, well, I didn't tell you either.
I hate to admit it, but Mr. Hospital was a nickname that I had when I was working as a doctor. After graduating from high school, I went to Germany and got my medical license there. After working as a doctor, I returned to America. After graduating from college, I went to Germany and obtained my medical license there. After working as a doctor, I returned to America and obtained a U.S. medical license. There, I went back to college and became a licensed pharmacist. After being certified as a doctor and pharmacist, I was training to become a nurse. But when my colleague saw me studying, he said, "I guess you can open a hospital all by yourself." And his comment earned me the nickname Mr. Hospital. As a general practitioner, I was improving my surgical skills and putting in long hours every day. Then one day my father fell ill. The cause of his illness was unknown, and there was no cure. I was researching all kinds of treatment methods. I had heard that a proven treatment was available at a facility in Germany. I went there right away after hearing that. Soon after I arrived in Germany, my father's condition suddenly worsened, and he passed away. I rushed back to America but could not make it there in time, and I experienced deep despair. My mother said, "Thank you for not giving up until the end." And she thanked me, but I couldn't save my father's life, the life of someone close to me. I realized that I wasn't worthy of the nickname Mr. Hospital. I quit my studies to go to nursing school. I was so depressed that I couldn't take care of myself. I didn't want to recall how helpless I felt at the time, so I couldn't even touch my stethoscope back then. I couldn't even enter the examination room or surgery room. That's when I decided to quit being a doctor. I submitted my resignation, saying that I was no longer useful as a doctor. But the director of the hospital told me, "Noah, I believe you are also a licensed pharmacist, aren't you? Then why don't you work as a pharmacist?" He told me that. Despite our differing roles, he urged that I assist patients as a fellow medical practitioner. I love my work as a pharmacist, and I thought it would be nice to continue as a pharmacist for quite some time, but somewhere in my heart, I wanted to become a doctor again. It was my honest feeling. It was a very rewarding job, and my true calling. But I couldn't get rid of the anxiety that I wouldn't be able to do it again. I was also afraid of what I would do if I couldn't save lives. That is why I could not take the step to become a doctor again. But the moment I realized that I was the only one who could save my mother-in-law's life, I knew I could do it. As it turned out, the surgery went well, yep.
I'm the one who should thank you for letting me operate on your mother that day. I'm sure it took a lot of courage for you to let a doctor who hadn't performed surgeries in a long time to conduct the operation.
It was Oliver who signed the consent form for my mother-in-law's surgery.
Oh no, I was watching the surgery all the way through that day. It wasn't a surgery that made me feel like you hadn't done one in a long time. I was very moved.
Really?
I was a little embarrassed to hear him say that.
Noah, aren't you thinking about going back to be a doctor? I'd like to learn more from you.
Yeah, I'm actually considering it. I'm gonna try hard to work as a doctor again.
A few years later, I was working at this hospital.
Okay, well, I'll give you your medicine. Please come back in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Dr. Noah. He's not only a good surgeon and a good doctor, but really listens to me.
You are flattering me.
Now I'm working as a doctor. The director, the doctors around me, and my wife sometimes tease me saying, "Mr. Hospital's back." But every day is a rewarding experience for me. Since then, I've also been in charge of surgeries. Today is my surgery day.
Dr. Oliver, how are you?
I'm going in as an assistant. I'm eager to learn from you.
Okay, let's do this together.
Oliver, my brother-in-law, has advanced from resident to new doctor, and we are both working at this hospital. As the same general practitioner, he seems to be starting hard every day to absorb my skills. I want to be a doctor like my brother and sister. I'm gonna be the next Mr. Hospital. He says something like that, and he's so excited about it that it makes me smile. I've decided to work as a doctor once again. Of course, I know that we can't save everyone's life for sure. Still, I'm determined to do my best to save as many lives as possible. Seeing the dependable junior members of the team, I am resolved to work as hard as he does. What did you think? Please subscribe to our channel so that we can make more videos in the future. See you on the next video.